Hi, Coach Russ here with Chess NYC, and we're going to look at the king and rook checkmate. When looking at this position, it is actually impossible to create a position where the king and the rook can checkmate the king in the center of the board. So that leaves us with four options. In order for the king and rook to checkmate an opponent's king, the opponent's king must be on one of the four sides of the board: the H file, the first rank, the A file, or the eighth rank. And once the king or the opponent's king is in one of these four sides of the board, it is possible for the king and the rook to checkmate the king. Now, let's look at an ending position. In a position such as this, the opponent's king is on the side of the board, and now it is possible for white to execute a checkmate. In this particular position, the white's king has created something called opposition. Opposition meaning that the white's king controls all three escape squares of the opponent's king in front of the king. The white's king controls f7, e7, and d7. Therefore, if the white rook was able to execute a check, it would leave no other option for the king but checkmate. White can simply play rook goes down to a8, checking the king, and due to the opposition and the white king controlling f7, e7, and d7, or all three squares in front of the king, this is simply a checkmate. Now, how do we force our opponent's king to one of the four sides? We are going to try to improve the position or the space of the king and the rook versus the king. And first and foremost, we would always like to improve the position of the rook first, or take more space. So in looking at this position as a starting position, where can white's rook go to improve its position to the maximum amount and control the most space? And in this position, white's rook is simply going to go to c6. In this position, as you can notice, it controls the whole c file and the sixth rank, giving black's king only this area to maneuver. If black's king were to go down one square, we're going to improve the position. We should always, like I said before, improve the position of the rook first. And in this position, we can improve the position of the rook in two different ways. We can improve the rook's position here, taking away from the c file, now we control the b file, or we can go and play c5. Instead of controlling the sixth rank, we are going to control the fifth rank. In this position, we are going to play this move. Black responds and black plays king a5. Now we have to see if we can improve the position again. Is there anywhere where this rook can improve its current position? And the answer is no. There's nowhere where this rook can go that's going to give it greater space. So now we look at the king, and we make a move and improve the position with the king. Black's only response is to the king to come down. And once again, how do we improve the position? First, we look at the rook, and we are able to take more space with the rook, giving black's king one response. And now, can we improve the position with the rook? And the answer in this position, there's no moves for the rook that's going to take more space. So that gives us a second option, improve the position with the king. In this position, king's going to come over. Once again, how can we take more space? And can we take more space with the rook? And the answer is no. So we'll look at the second option, take more space with the king. King comes down, and I asked you this question: can we improve the position with the rook? And in this answer, yes, we can take more space. King has one option, is to go to a2, and now we have to ask ourselves, can we improve the position with the rook? Answer is yes, we can take more space. Once again, the king comes down, and we ask ourselves again, can the rook improve the position? The answer is no. There's nowhere where this rook can go that's going to take more space. So the king comes down, and once again, the king takes space. King's only move is to go up. And now we're in a situation where we need to begin to calculate. We've got the king in very close quarters, and we have to execute a checkmate. The king went up. Can we improve the position with the rook? And the answer is no. We can take no further space, so we improve the position with the king. Black's only response is the king come down. And now, in this position, we're going to see how can we improve the position to the maximum. In this case, The maximum position is a checkmate for white. So looking at this position, it's white simply plays rook a3, and this is a checkmate. White controls these escape squares. White's rook executes a checkmate, and the game is over. So in this position, we had forced the king into the corner. We've improved the position first with the rook, and if there's no improvement with the rook, we've improved it with the king, forcing our opponent's king to one of the four sides of the board, and eventually we're going to be executing a checkmate.